Hello! Welcome back to my channel. You might have seen the previous matchup between Mono Yellow Turles and Pycon, where Turles came out the victor in that matchup. Turles is a deck that I believe in this format has a giant ceiling and is definitely in the running as one of the top decks of the format, completely slept on, has so much utility. Yellow obviously has some great staples, and this deck allows you to draw into them, as well as the fact that you get to start off the game with a unison that has between 2 and 3 markers on it, depending on whether you go first or second, making so many great cards live turn 1. We'll get into that in just a little bit, but first off, if you don't know what the leader does, he is the leader of the Crusher Corps. If a Turles Crusher Corps is in your battle area and will be placed in the owner's drop area by one of your skills, it's sent to the owner's warp instead. That's just kind of to balance it out, because it's a bit of a King Piccolo like deck, and obviously King Piccolo could reoccur the Demon Clans back, while Turles in this case cannot. When this card is placed in your leader area, you get to play up the Tree of Might, Divine Roots Unison, and put 2 markers on it. And when this card attacks, you draw a card. Then when your life is a 4 or less, or you have 3 or more face up life, draw 2 cards, flip them over. Not too different from King Piccolo, except he doesn't gain a life. And, well, with King Piccolo you draw on the rest. But this is when he gets really good, obviously, when you awaken, because when he attacks, you get to draw a card. But the Spirit Boost is essentially can be a massive game winner in the fact that you can either essentially choose a Tree of Might and discard it, and then you get to do the activate battle while paying a skill cost. I'll talk about why the fruit of the Tree of Might is so powerful when we get to that card. But even if you don't have that card in your hand, if you have 2 or more face-up cards in your life, this card gets plus 1000 power for the turn, or for the battle, sorry. That's Spirit Boost 1-tap yellow. A very strong game ender, which is so good for yellow, because it's got all the cards to be able to draw for as long as until you are set up to win. And the fact that you have a kind of a win con just ready with your lead, or something that can push for game just ready there at all times, so strong. The deck is made very consistent with a Tree of Might, Divine Roots. Basically this unison is the one that you get to start the game off with. It can attack, but it has 1600 power, which puts off a lot of people from trying to remove it. And obviously it can't attack, so a lot of players won't feel the need to actually have to attack into it. But while this is on the field, you will have SS4 Prideful Transformation on the field, or active, not on the field. You'll have that live, along with any other cards that require unison with a certain amount of marks will be live while this is on the field. What's great about this is this is essentially what allows you to be able to use your life to be able to combo and then play cards similar to King Piccolo. A little more balanced than this deck than KP was, but just as consistent, and this unison is very, very strong for helping you set up your plays and makes the deck very, very significant. With its -2, you can add the Tree of Might extra card from your deck to your hand and shuffle your deck. So by using this unison, you can activate your leader's Awaken skill, or their once per turn Spirit Boost skill. So much easier. It guarantees you that you can do the big triumphant Razmadaz win con. So that's great that you just have that guaranteed go for gameplay. Romishi is a nice card now because of the SS2 Gohan, and why it's a good removal card, because using this, once you have awoken and added the Tree of Might, this card kind of becomes redundant. Once you have that in your hand, so you can kind of just get rid of this and whatever markers you piled up onto it. Empowering 2, so he gets to start off with 4 markers, because this will more than likely have 2 markers on him when you get rid of. He'll gain 2, you tap 2, he starts with 4 markers, and you get to, when this card is played, draw 1 card and choose all your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO them. You're playing yellow, so you will be essentially blowing up their entire board with this most of the time, aside from the cards with barrier. And because this is an Empower card that essentially when you play has 4, you get to move on to this guy. So this guy will blow up your opponent's board, so they won't have much things to take markers away from it. So then you get to play this guy, and this will probably be what wins you the majority of the games. In power, yellow 3, and he has blocker, just to make things that much more frustrating for you. If you use 4 markers when this card is played, choose X of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring barrier, where X is equal to the number of yellow unisons you drop there and kill them. This won't do an awful lot for you, because we're not throwing a lot of unisons into the drop bar. You'll probably have between two or 3. But if the game is going on for a long while, that might be very useful, but it probably won't be. But at least it ignores barrier, and you'll probably be able to remove 1 or 2 big boss monsters. The +1 is the draw card. You're not going to be using that unless he survives. In turn, what you're probably going to do is playing this dude with 4 more markers on him. He empowers 3, so when you swap these 2 or swap that for this one, you should surely have enough to be able to do this -3 and get plus 5,000 power and triple attack. So you'll be able to hit him for 25k 3 times, or you can choose to attack him 25k twice and just have a blocker on your next turn. So they're the unisons. And just to show off one card that's not a unison, but I'm playing in the deck because of how useful it is. It's live because of the Tree of Might pretty quickly, and the fact that you can play him out. It's a strong card, limit 1 spirit boost 2, choose up one of your opponent's battle cards when ninja cost 4, less and rest mode, KO at then plus 5,000 power with double strike. For each marker on a unison card in play, reduce the energy cost by 1. So, by turn 3 when you will, or turn 3 or 4, you can be all the way up to, you can play him turn 3 or turn 4, almost guaranteed, with this deck. And he's just a big body, very strong, and he's a blocker. So now we're going to jump into the Crusher cores. We'll play 3 of the Raisin, 3 of the Lacasse, 3 of the Power of 3, and 3 of the All Too Easy. One of the best boss monsters in yellow, for Yellow Saiyans. Just generic, tap 2, you get extra utility in the deck because it counts as a Crusher core, so you can put him into your life to combo with. You're probably not going to combo with him, but you can put him into your life to then combo with one of these 2, is what you're going to want to do. But also, he's just so good. Once you're on turn 3, you can tap 2 to play him and get a double strike and remove 2 cards, or remove 1 and draw 1. It's all too easy, some might say. I play these guys. It's very easy to get these into your life because of this guy, and with the Tree of Might effect of being able to just put a card from your hand into your life and combo with a Crusher core. I play these guys. These are the only ones I play because I don't really care about recurring the tree again, or protecting it, or doing anything like that. I essentially just use this to play him and then get the blocker out, and then use him as that just extra combo cost, and just have more Crusher cores for consistency reasons. He obviously allows me, he's a good starter card just to allow me to get a Crusher core into my life. And obviously the fact that I can do the Spirit Boost 1. If your leader carries yellow Turles Crush card, when this card attacks, it gets plus 1,000 power for the battle, then use one face, and then he allows me to use one of these combos. So going into turn 2, if I went second, I can have already a blocker on my side of the field. So they're the Crusher cores I'm playing. It's quite consistent because the deck draws so many cards. That's kind of a problem for Yellow Saiyan leaders, it's kind of a problem with dealing with Yellow Saiyan leaders, is the majority of them draw a lot. Through the Tree of Might, just to wrap up the cooler stuff. And this synergizes with the leader because it's essentially easier win con with your leader. If your leader card is a Turles Crusher core and all your energy is mono green, and you flip one face up card in your life face down, choose up one of your leader cards or battle cards, and it gets plus 20,000 power for the battle. If the chosen card's character name includes Turles, it also gains double strike. So that makes your leader 35k double strike. And you might say you cannot, and the fact that you can ignore the fact that it's a green card just by using its Spirit Boost is fantastic. It's a bit annoying that's green because you can only use it for off the leader's Spirit Boost. So you have to have a unison in place to activate it. Just some staples for yellow now. These go into every yellow deck. There's not much point in talking about them. So there's not much point in talking about these. Counter when you're going for your big game winning turn. Protection, that pretty much stops your opponent's turn dead, especially if you activate 2 of them on one turn. This can kind of end your opponent's turn too. This is very good for resting your opponent's unisons like the Agent of Destruction Boo. It's very strong for just stopping double strikes and any other horrible things they can do. Realm of the Gods Black Kamehameha. Just a strong card, put your opponent's cards to rest mode. Deals with so much of the pain of your opponent's turn. Just all great protection cards, and you know, Kamehameha, you know, I can give you that plus 10k power if you just want to finish the game out. So here's some yellow Saiyan stuff. This is the card Powerful Transformation that's live pretty quickly, or immediately because of the thing. This is also live pretty quickly thanks to having the tree. You can do the Spirit Boost 1. Yeah, these are just great cards for resting your opponent's incoming card, and you get a blocker of these 2, and this is a negate the attack and play. And this Spirit Boost 1 place this card on his drop area. When this card is played, choose up one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. Addition of chosen card is an energy cost of 5 or less, KO it, and draw 1 card. But because you get to choose one of your cards and switch to rest mode, unlike these 2 cards where the card coming in is played in rest, this one chooses, so that allows you to go in and play Poutine, which is probably the strongest yellow card there is. It does so much sabotaging and makes your opponent have to go through a lot of works in sequencing their turns. So yeah, and Steadfast is just great. You know, draw, rest your opponent's card, and have a free blocker, Poutine. And then the other black card I'm playing in the deck is Man on a Mission. Overwhelm 6 critical double strike. It's just a game. It can be that card that really just finishes the game for you. Then we've got the super combo. You know, you're not really going to be playing other super combos in yellow unless your deck specifies a good super combo. Or you want to play the new SCR by Gohan and Piccolo, Newfound Mount. Obviously I'm not playing that because you can see 4 unisons in front of you, or not 4 unisons, 4 super combos. I'm playing 4 Krillin, so obviously I can't play Newfound Might, which if you have that card I'd recommend you put in this deck, because it's just a great SCR. But I am playing Siblings Absorb. I think this is an incredibly strong card. It's also a budget option. It's very cheap for an SCR. This deck all around is kind of a budget deck. And there's nothing in this deck that's super expensive except for the Goku Steadfast Comebacks. I think that's really the only card I think is super expensive. And the SCR, of course. But other than that, the deck is very budget friendly. If you don't have the money to be able to go off and buy, you know, the best deck, the Gamma deck I suppose is probably the best deck at the moment. This is the budget option. It's very strong, and also you kind of have the factor of a lot of players don't know what this deck does. I also should probably read this SCR for you. It's a counter play. Fits in perfectly with the yellow team. Choose up to one of your opponent's cards in rest mode, ignoring barrier, and place it under this card, so great removal, ignoring barrier. The played card has its skills negated for the turn as well, so even stronger. If the card is removed from your battle area, remove it from the game instead. If your leader card and all your energy are mono yellow and your opponent has 3 or more energy, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 7. So after turn 3, you can just tap 1 and play a 40k beater that has crit. And he has the flex, so they can't just God Sealing it back to your hand. So even though I do think the Gohan Piccolo Newfound Might is a better SCR overall, I think this card has so much utility and so much strength. It's a game winner, and it's not much better, and especially with the fact that the Gohan Piccolo SCR takes up a super combo slot. so I don't think it's necessarily needed or is that much better. It's better, but it's not that much better to the point that I wouldn't be splashing out the extra amount of money that's going to cost you to get that card, especially when this card, as far as I'm aware, is still so cheap right now. So that's my Turles deck profile. Very budget friendly aside from the steadfast comebacks, which aren't absolutely needed for the deck. You could probably get away with playing even just one in the deck or none. There's lots of options in yellow to put your opponent's cards in rest mode, and there's already a lot of blockers. You could probably play an extra prideful transformation, extra freezes comeback and stuff like that. So it's not absolutely crucial. Really budget friendly, really strong. It's got high ceiling. You can play mid range, heavy aggro, control. It's got so many ways of playing it. You can kind of adapt your strategy on the fly depending on what your opponent's doing. If you want to go all in with an attack with Fruit Tree of Minds, or you want to hold back and put out blockers and really get into the grind game, Turles can do that. He does everything. I think he's being slept on, and I hope you guys see the deck and maybe try it out for yourselves.